like to invite Mr. Rajkumar M R, Business Consulting Leader India from ADP. Please welcome with a huge round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to UBS Forum for putting this event together. So it's a special one, special to kind of see you all together today, and looking forward to much more interactions down the line. So today we have this topic on board here. So to begin precedence, I would like to kind of give insights on what ADP is an organization all about. So ADP is a global organization. We are headquartered in the US. Just to share some insights, we are working with over 1.1 million clients across the globe because we do have local solutions and global solutions that we kind of provide for. We specialize in time, payroll, and other related aspects when it comes to your HCM systems as a unique industry that's being looked at. And currently we are providing services to over 42 million people across the globe. Specifically from a US perspective, we pay one person in every 6 people that you kind of talk to, right? And on the third aspect of it, we also have an end mile service called as money movement services. So when it comes to payroll disbursement, people trust us with their money. Hence, they give the funds to us in case they are not really incorporated here and so on and so forth. So we've moved over $3.1 trillion worth of fund, through 2 different employers and ensure that their employees get paid on time, right? And, we are a listed company, so we have been performing well by God's grace. And, throughout these, 75 years of journey, over 50 years, we have been able to kind of pay out dividends properly. And financially also, we are pretty strong. So we are AA credit rated, from different organizations that is kind of mentioned over here. And most of our, platforms are strategically hosted on cloud. As you know, cloud is the way forward. And when it comes to systems kind of, delivering the impact that it does, it needs to be very agile and accessible as well, anywhere, anytime, right? So currently, we kind of bring to the table over 7 decades of experience and knowledge, and more than 80% of the Fortune 500s are already our clients, right? So that's a global perspective. When you drill it down further, this is our India chapter. So we are operating out of most of the metros that are based out of India, and we have a centralized processing center in Chennai. So that's where all of our bright minds are kind of based out of. And we have a center of excellence from a compliance perspective as well. So compliance is pretty important when it comes to any particular organization. And we bring to the table over 2 decades of experience here. So currently we have about 12,000 plus associates who are kind of working with us. And we managed to pay about 1 million plus employees on time. So we are working with over 2,000 clients in India as of date, right? Yeah. Just to take up some interesting topic, right? In terms of how workforce is kind of evolving today. So it's a globally distributed workforce. So if you have a global headquarters elsewhere, you would kind of invest in countries like India, which is kind of seeing a significant growth curve as of now. So it becomes a China plus one strategy, right? When you look at manufacturing as one of the key industries that is being looked at. And remote workforce is also on the rise. So when COVID hit, operations did not halt. People started working from home. They still, wanted to kind of deliver for the company, ensure that their primary business objective is being met, and so on and so forth. So that does encompass another part of the workforce that we are looking at significantly. And from a mobile perspective, most of the workforce is on the go. Specifically sales or people who are meant to be on the field. So they are on the go always. And the last one is the ad hoc talent. So owing to the complexities of how the seasonality will play out from a manufacturing perspective, just to take an example, an ice cream manufacturer will have a specific season during which they would kind of ramp up their production, right? So during those seasons, they would hire the contingent workforce, which also needs to be kind of looked at. And these are some of the questions that you might have in mind. So is there a single platform to kind of manage all these types of workforce that are out there, right? And is there a way to kind of increase productivity of your employees apart from focusing on the work that needs to get done? And the front end of the such system will always be a biometric or a hardware system that is being looked at from a timekeeping perspective. So whether the existing investments can be protected or not is the other question that kind of pops up. And then the scalability aspect of it, because most of the manufacturing folks are kind of comfortable to host these systems on their premise. However, it doesn't give them the ability to operate on that scale, right? And data security, which is one other important aspect, because we are seeing a lot of breaches today with AI evolving and other related technologies also coming into play. We need to ensure that we need a very secure platform to kind of operate into, and whether it does provide information in real time or not. Yeah. From an India perspective, again, I would like to spend a couple of minutes on this slide. When you take the demography, large number of people are getting into the workforce because India as a country is pretty young. So there are people anywhere between 25 to 45 years of age who form significant part of our population today. And a lot of unorganized sectors are moving into organized sector. And there are industries such as manufacturing, which is being encouraged through different schemes that the government is kind of coming up with, which may be the PLI scheme, just to make a mention of it. So it's all on the rise in that sense. And new labor codes are expected to be implemented, right? So every state government has come up with their own set of labor codes. So it would kind of be implemented in the near future is what the expectation is. And as far as technology is concerned, you would like to kind of equip yourself with such similar advanced systems, which is preferably hosted on cloud, accessible on mobile, so that on the fly you can kind of get access to the information. And from a cost perspective, it should help you contain costs, and time theft is one of the major aspects that's always being spoken about from a timekeeping perspective again. And there are different types of workforce, right? So it may be full-time, part-time, gig workers, and the model is pretty hybrid in nature. Yeah. So what does this kind of mean to a post-pandemic world, right? So certain solutions may be kind of rigid, so it needs to be kind of mobile in nature, and traditional software solutions will not give you that flexibility in that sense, so the data integrity is not there. And also the field workforce will always need access to something which is kind of operatable on the mobile, right? And from a hybrid perspective, again, you need traceability, what work is getting done, and so on and so forth. And from a nature of workforce itself, blue collar is pretty demanding in that sense. So to catch hold and to kind of have that workforce pointing in the right direction as far as the primary business objective is concerned is much more important for organizations today, right? So this is where the solution kind of comes in handy. So it's called ADP SecurTime. This is a fully fledged time and attendance SaaS solution which resolves all these key challenges that you're looking at, right? So it may be scale, where you want to kind of ramp up operations from one to another and kind of add in that location quickly and be able to configure it in the platform itself. And adaptability, how reliable is the data, whether you can get the information in real time or not. And particularly applicable to SMEs, which you see a large number of organizations in India as a geography today. And from a control perspective, everything needs to be configurable, right? So if it's not really suitable to your needs particularly, it won't come in handy as a solution in its entirety. Yeah. So these are the couple of major aspects that we are trying to highlight upon today. So time and attendance. So the front end of the solution is always to kind of look at a biometric-led approach in most manufacturing setups at least. And from a feet on street perspective, if the employees are on the go, then mobile app would always be kind of looked at so that they can kind of punch from anywhere. The mobility aspect comes into the picture. And the data is always transparent and validated, right? Because biometric as an identifier is unique to everyone. It may be the fingerprint or a facial recognition that you're trying to use, or a palm-based recognition, and so on and so forth. And from a workforce perspective, We are looking at aspects like scheduling, absence management as well, since a lot of tardiness comes into the effect once employees start to put in greater amount of work hours as and when they are at work. And overtime also is one of the critical key components leading into payroll as a downstream system, right? Yeah. Quickly, these are the three layers that we are looking at from a solutioning perspective. So we do have biometric systems that needs to be looked at. So there is a way for remote employees also to kind of key in their time through a desktop or a kiosk kind of setup. And there's a mobile app to enhance the mobility if the workforce is on the go. So we use capabilities like geofencing and geotagging to ensure that location whereabouts are also kind of tagged into the reporting that we kind of provide. And if it's a setup which is kind of much smaller in nature, we do have kiosk-based applications which would kind of come in handy, where multiple folks can kind of just show their face and have their attendance recorded. So everything flows through to the SaaS solution that we have. So it works on a policy-based framework entirely, where your organization's work rules would be keyed in. So it may be the work hours that they need to look at, or how does overtime kind of play out, what kind of shift schedules have they been allocated to, and so on and so forth. And to kind of tie it up all of together, since there are different stakeholders within any particular organization, we also offer role-based dashboards that will come into the picture, which will kind of help you make decisions quite easily. And on the other spectrum of it, we also integrate with other relevant systems such as an HRMS or a payroll or an ERP also from a manufacturing perspective, because effectively, if you're looking at the amount of time that is getting keyed in at work, it needs to make sense against the production volume that you're looking at down the barrel, right? So it can kind of help consolidate all of that as well. And these are the solution tenets quickly. So biometric, mobile, and tablet-based attendance is quite possible. It's all cloud-based, so plug and play, we can go live pretty quickly. And personalized dashboards is also of greater essence. And the data is secured and fully protected, so ADP operates in its own virtual private cloud. And it has a team of around 400 people, which will ensure that round the clock they kind of monitor the systems so that there is no breach across the board. So we do have relevant teams which will kind of look at physical security, data security, vulnerability management, and so on and so forth when you consider data security as a layer in itself. And then APIs for easy integration is always available, right? Yeah, just the re-emphasis on the set of things that we have looked at so far. And as a provider, we also kind of emphasize on having an integrated solution. A couple of weeks back, I was just referring to a comment that Mr. Nadella made, who is the CEO of Microsoft. So the systems have to be talking to each other, right? So in unison, if they do not really work, then the data is not making a whole lot of sense to a particular organization if the systems are disjointed, that is. Hence, an integrated solution is what we kind of always propose or kind of give the guidance to most of the clients that we kind of work with. And by analyzing the data together, you can kind of optimize the resource accordingly and ensure that you look at profitability and growth perspective as well, right? And data accuracy and compliance is what we always ensure. Yeah, just to come up to speed with some of the clients that we have worked with. So this is a pharmaceutical company that we have worked with. So essentially, they had about 6 locations and about 3,600 employees across the board. So the problem statement that they kind of came up with is, they had a distributed workforce. As you can see, it's around 6 different plants that they were operating into. And manual attendance was there, and there was some biometric systems also available. So it's all disjointed and all over the place in that sense. And dynamic shift planning was of essence. And there were missing roster updates also, which resulted in wrong processing of attendance records, right? So what is the solution that we kind of implemented? So it's a comprehensive time and attendance and workforce management solution that we kind of implemented, and we kind of committed to a stricter timeline so that we ensured that we delivered the solution before the deadline that was kind of committed to. So which ensured that there is accurate and real-time processing of attendance records. And they are a happy customer for about a couple of years now. And logistics is one of the key industry when it comes to manufacturing, because essentially the supply chain impact on manufacturing is pretty severe, since they are dependent on raw materials to fulfill their production-related requirements. So here, the particular provider that we are kind of talking about, they had a distributed workforce, and delivery centers were there across the board. So they had about 600 plus locations. Just to name it, it is DTDC. So they had different systems that they were looking at from an office perspective and a delivery center perspective, and they had a lot of contractor employees also on board. And during COVID, they were facing a whole bunch of challenges as well, because they had implemented fingerprint-based solutions, which was problematic during that time, right? Because nobody wanted to kind of touch any particular system as such. So the need of touchless system was also of essence. So then we kind of implemented a mobile app-led solution for them, which ensured that whenever the employee is at the designated delivery center, they were able to kind of mark the attendance. And we kind of collated all the information, which was, again, integrated with the existing HRMS or payroll provider that they had. And it was pretty easy for us to kind of migrate them from the existing system to the mobile app system that we kind of brought onto the table. So they are working with us for the past 6 years. And we have been able to kind of deliver accurate attendance records for all these delivery centers that are being looked at, right? And the last one, so we are working with a consumer electronics and durable goods company as well. So they have presence in across over 700 plus locations. So this is Tata Chroma for your reference. Yeah, so they specialize in selling electronics, right? So again, a similar use case pertaining to how the challenges were, where we could kind of implement a mobile-led solution and kind of integrate with the existing HRMS payroll provider that they had. So they've been our client for over 6 years now, and you can look at the scale also. So the operation gets pretty simplified, as in when they kind of came up with a new store, so that it was easier for us to kind of plug and play with the other set of employees that were onboarded onto the platform, right? So pretty much that is what we had, and that's our contact information. Any particular questions that you may have, happy to take it.
Yep, thank you, sir. Any questions? We can take one or two. Thank you very much. Can we have a huge round of applause for him?